Welcome to the Prosperity Podcast for entrepreneurs who are ready to drop the hustle and earn more. I'm your host, Danielle Amos, business and success coach, certified Proctor Institute consultant, and lifestyle entrepreneur. Each week, I'll bring you amazing entrepreneurs who have built wealth, harnessing the power of their mind. Prosperity and money are truly about energy, and I'm on a mission to help you create financial abundance through the power of thought. It's time we started normalizing conversations about money and create the wealth that is yours. Are you ready? Let's do this. Welcome to episode 212 of the Prosperity Practice, the podcast that has you living your most abundant life. My name is Danielle Amos, and I am your host. Today is a big one. I want to bring in the concept of forgiveness, the law of forgiveness, letting go, and what it means to surrender. And this season that we find ourselves in on planet Earth, the season of Aquarius, the moon in Aquarius. Breathing here. I was just live in Encoded Conversations, which is a container that I have with Haley Bowler Cook, a very close proximity container where we're sharing quite vulnerable parts of our lives. And I just was in there sharing about forgiveness and surrendering and how and what that looks like in my own personal life and my business, and particularly my relationship. I have been listening to the Ho'oponopono prayer nonstop recently. It is a Hawaiian prayer, and I intuitively was called to listen to a meditation recently, and I've been listening to it for days and days, and I've been sharing a little on social. And I found a song by the Emmitt Sisters. You might know it. It's called Ho'oponopono. And I'm going to play a little bit. I've never done this before, and I'd love for you to hear the lyrics. And then I'll say it and share it so that you can get it here. What I know to be true right now, and I know that I'm not alone, is that there are many people who are being called right now on the planet to let go and to surrender to current situations, and really to let go of our current identity, our current way of doing things, our current, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's the way that you've been doing business, or showing up in a certain area of your life, and like burning it to the ground, like basically saying, fuck it. And this surrendering to the situation and letting go makes room for what's to come. This like next level of success, identity, relationship, whatever area. And I've been doing quite a bit of my own reflection on two parts of my life. One is my business and the way that we've been doing business, and what that looks like for me moving forward, and my relationship, my personal relationship with my husband. I am noticing that the ways that I've been showing up and doing business, some of them no longer feel aligned. And I believe that a lot of people in the coaching industry will agree with me that change is happening. And of course, every industry changes. So it's not just the coaching industry. There are changes happening in the world, like in politics as well. The truth is, with the rise in conscious awareness on the planet, and more people waking up every single day. And this really started, 2000, there was a wave, 2012, the 2022, and we're seeing it like heightening. Very fast, people are waking up. And with this rise in consciousness, which is this new evolution, the new earth, some people have said, the veil of what is real and not real, what is truth and not truth, is thinning, meaning that more and more of us, I know for myself, like I can see non-truth like that, like that. It's like the veil is so thin, and intuitively I can just see it. I see through a person. and what they're saying to me. And anyone out of integrity, it's like, I'm just like, like listening to a person, and I know that they're not speaking truth. And it's been really challenging. Like in my personal relationship, it's been really challenging. And I've actually needed to confront and have some very challenging conversations with my husband. And it hasn't been easy. But it's like I couldn't fucking stand it anymore. Sorry for the F-bomb, but like I couldn't stand it anymore to like know the truth and not call it out. That I wasn't in my truth and my integrity. And the same thing with my industry, the coaching industry. We're seeing the same thing in politics. You might see it in your own industry. And it's like the veil's thinning. Anything with non-truth is crumbling. And so there's a real call for us to be vulnerable, for us to be in integrity. And those people who are standing in integrity in their truths, they continue to rise. So, and part of that, like for me, has been like, okay, in my business, what are some of the things that we've been doing that no longer aligns? And am I willing to let go of what got me here and what got me this success up until now? And I'm going to ask you the same question, because there are many strategies, many ways of being that built, like predominantly most of my business was built on this like very masculine energy and systems and structures. And that worked up until a certain point. And then, I really felt called over the last 18 months, 2 years to step more into this feminine energetics. And you might be the same. And I still have masculine structures. Like I believe that we need both. And I've hired, like I have a CEO who is incredible at keeping those structures into place so that I can be more in alignment with my truth in the feminine place. But here's the thing. I know I'm not alone. I'm seeing my clients let go of things that no longer align. I'm seeing my colleagues let go, burn things to the ground. And it's many of you, like if you resonate with this comment, like in what ways are you being called to let go? And they feel big, like they feel big. And for me to speak my truth feels big in my life with my husband feels big. It's like gutting. I'm really challenging everything right now, everything I've known up until this point. And I'm feeling called to let go of old identities, let go of the way that I defined myself, my business, my success, and let it go for a higher truth to come in. And it's not easy. It takes surrender. It takes forgiveness, which I'm going to get into in this podcast, like forgiveness, letting go, and surrender. Forgiveness of others, forgiveness of myself, letting go of anything that no longer fits, and surrendering to the moment, the obstacle, to what's right in front of us, the truth. Mars in Aquarius is the season, and it is creating chaos. Mars is chaos, fire. Aquarius being so much change. This new earth, this new possibility. And then we've got 3 planets in Pisces, which is a sign of trust and surrender. It's all the perfect storm and the perfect timing. And there's no surprise that many of us in the collective, in the world, are feeling similar. So this season, if we can bring them together, calls for forgiveness, surrender, letting go. And I want to talk about each of them separately now. And For forgiveness, before I go into my rant, I'd love for you to listen to a song that I've been listening to by the Emmitt Sisters, and it's been really helping me in my relationship. And I'm just going to play the first, like not even a minute. And I want you to really listen to the lyrics, and then I'll repeat some of them for you.
I knew it would end this way. Two broken hearts on a rainy day. There isn't much left to say. We both know it's time for us to go our own ways. Surrender to this moment. There is no one to blame. There is no right or wrong here. Only lessons in love and pain. We did what we were meant to do. I was me and you were you. Finally ready to see this whole thing through. I'm sorry, I forgive you. Thank you, I love you. I'm sorry, I forgive you. Thank you, I love you.
So we'll put the link to that song in the show notes. And I share it that you can hear the Ho'oponopono prayer, the I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. And she repeats that. They repeat that. What I love about that song is when you can forgive in a way that allows you to thank yourself, the situation, and the other person for the lessons learned, and understanding that there is nothing wrong here, that we were each playing our role. It's powerful. I often quote a book, it's a children's book by Neil Donald Walsh, Little Soul in the Sun, where the understanding is that there are two souls, one who is here to experience something like I am forgiveness, and the other soul who must dim their light so much to do something to the soul so that they could have someone or something to forgive. And the soul that dims their light so much begs of the other soul, please remember who I am, because if you forget and then you forget who you are, we'll be two lost souls, and we'll need a third soul to remind us that we are light. And in the Little Soul of the Sun book, it states that we've both played this role for each other many times. And I see that in my own relationships, that I may have come here with part of my purpose or part of my desire to experience in this human realm. I am forgiveness, and therefore needed to attract something to forgive. There's nothing wrong here. We both played a role, and we're playing a role in order to learn and raise our own awareness. Let's look at the definition of forgiveness. I'm going to give you a couple. One is from my mentor, Bob Proctor, who said to forgive is to let go of completely, to abandon, to let go of completely and abandon. So just to let go. So when you forgive and forget, it's for yourself. It doesn't make the other thing right, or what you're forgiving. It doesn't condone it. It means that you let go. You cannot harvest the good. Mary Morrissey, who often worked with my mentor, Bob Proctor, he gives another definition, and she says that this comes from A Course in Miracles. Mary Morrissey's definition of forgiveness from A Course in Miracles says that forgiveness is simply a shift in perception, one that removes a block in me to my awareness of love's presence. I'm going to say that again. Forgiveness is a shift in perception that removes a block in me to my awareness of love's presence. Forgiveness is a shift in perception. So to shift your perception, it's not easy, especially when someone or something has happened, when someone's done something very mean. And that shift in perception, it requires awareness, a very high level of awareness, to have even a God's eye perception, a bird's eye view of the situation. One like Neil Donald Walsh suggested, like, the person who did the thing is doing the thing so that you can experience I am forgiveness. They're doing it because they love you. And there's many times that you've played the role of the dark soul that's become so dark to do someone to someone else. And you get to forgive yourself. See, the truth is that you were acting with your current level of awareness the best you could. So the question often becomes, well, how often do we forgive? How many times does a person need to do this to forgive? Now, doesn't mean that you've got to stay or not hold boundaries, but how many times you forgive is infinite. And this has come up in the Bible. It's come up in many great books. To forgive. Infinite. Now think about what happens when we don't forgive ourselves and other people. If someone does something mean to me and I resent them and I really can't forgive them, well, think about what that's doing inside of me. I'm in a negative state. That feeling that's growing inside of me is a negative vibration. It's affecting me, not the other person. And then we wonder in society why we get sick, why a person gets sick. It's not because something happened to me or someone did something to me that I get sick because of the resentment I'm holding on to. I'm reacting to what you did to me, but I've got to learn to work in harmony with the laws. And one of those laws is that law of forgiveness. You got to learn how to forgive and let go of completely. There's two emotions that are dangerous and damaging. One is guilt and the other is resentment. Guilt, shame, and resentment. And we've got to learn to forgive ourselves and forgive others. Forgive. When you forgive, like I said, it doesn't condone the activity. It doesn't mean that you don't get to set up boundaries, but it's that you let go, that you change your perception to find the gift, the lesson, the experience for you. And then this really does create such a beautiful energy in your mind, and then you're free and you keep moving in the right direction. Forgiveness is not for the other person. You're the recipient of the good when you forgive. If you think about when you don't forgive, that non-forgiveness, it blocks you seeing any of the good. And here's the thing, the universe is always seeking for better growth, good. and it's seeking to express itself in that way in your life. The Buddha actually said that when you don't forgive, you hold resentment, it's like picking up a hot coal, all the while intending to throw that hot coal at the other person. But when you hold that hot coal, the person that gets burned most is you. Someone else said, like, not forgiving is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Doesn't happen. It affects you. So is there a way this is what I ask myself, is there a way that forgiveness can be a way of my life? That it's like I forgive every day myself and others. I release the judgment. And it's like almost like a cleansing, like I take a shower every day, because when I forgive, it cleanses my perception and it puts me in a higher vibration. And vibration is a primary law that dictates what I'm attracting into my life. So when something happens or someone does something to me and does it to you, I invite you to release the charge. Release that like energy, that reaction, and respond with forgiveness. Change the experience. Decide that there is good in it rather than like, this is really bad. When you remove the negative charge, you can experience the shift in perception. You can have a God's eye view to harvest the good, find the lesson. And this is huge. And if you can't understand the impact it's having on your own life, guilt, shame, resentment, guilt, Maxwell Maltz says in Psycho-Cybernetics, a book I love, he says, guilt is never an appropriate emotion. Never. It causes so much sickness in one's body. So, forgive, let go of completely. Every time that you feel yourself in a negative vibration or where you're holding some kind of a resentment to yourself or judgment to another person, let go. Let go of the thought, change it, choose again. You get to choose again. That's your right. That's your free will. As a human, you choose your thoughts. Feel better by seeing the good. And I see how when we practice this law of forgiveness to shift our perception and to find the good and actually get to a place where we can feel gratitude for the other person or the event, for the lesson, I think it's such a gift. It takes a high level of awareness. So forgiveness, letting go completely, meaning I think about what it means to let go, and let it go means once I let it go, I'm not I'm not to bring it up again. I don't get to bring it up in a conversation with my husband or to a friend or even in my own mind. I've let it go. It's like a decision that's permanent. I burn the boats. And when you let go in that way, it is a surrender feeling, isn't it? It's like letting go of the need to control, surrendering to the situation, surrendering to a new way. And I believe that it's not easy to surrender. What I've noticed in my own life, it's not easy to surrender when I don't trust or feel held or supported. And ultimately, the support comes from my faith, my belief in myself, God, the universe, the laws, and trust in that. Surrender, knowing that what must happen will happen for the advancement of my life, the world, the universe. Surrender to what is. No need to control. Surrender in faith. I don't know about you, but I have found it challenging to surrender. I even noticed in a massage, my masseuse, I get a massage every week, and she whispers to me, let go. And she like holds up my leg or my arm, and I'm holding it. And she's like, let go. I've got you. To like even relax into her. I'm doing the work. I'm holding my leg because I don't believe or trust that she can hold my leg. Is that crazy? It just shows you like, if I'm not able to surrender there, where else am I not surrendering? Where else am I controlling? And in our control, we're ignorant, right? I'm ignorant. It's like in my desire to control the situation, there's no room for magic. And this is very much what it means to be in the mechanics of things, like the masculine energy, the do. We do because we don't trust, like leaning back and receiving. In Thomas Truard's paper called Entering into the Spirit of It, he talks about how we as humans are so limited because we're so stuck in the mechanics of it and trying to make it, quote unquote, make something work, that we don't leave any room for spirit to work its magic. We think we've got it all figured out. But if we let go and we surrender, we'll notice that there's something much more beautiful than what we ever could have imagined, and that spirit has its own mathematics, its own magic. So for me, graciously receiving and surrendering, and not necessarily needing something to attract into my life to surrender to. Just like this gets to be a way of being in the flow of it all, in the flow of life. I'd love to hear from you if you also feel called right now to forgive, surrender, let go, and what it means for you. For those of you that are in our subscriber membership for the prosperity practice, we've got a bonus for you on this. I'm going to share a little bit more personally of what I'm going through, and know that in effort in with the desire so that you know that you're not alone. This Aquarius, Mars, and season. And I'm not one to, here's the thing with astrology, I find it just really interesting, really, really interesting, actually. I'm not one to become a victim to like, oh, it's Mercury retrograde, and so I can't work for 5 days. I don't do that. I don't become like, nothing external controls me. And I recognize how things like the moon can affect us. So, I've said it before, but we're like 75% water, and the moon affects the oceans and the tides. So of course it would affect us in some way, but I'm not a victim to it. I just notice that there is an energy at play, and I always have free will and everything's inside out. So, and I invite you to recognize that you're not alone, that as we lock arms and we move through life seasons, this too shall pass. There's many of us feeling that it's time for change, and change can be uncomfortable. So if you're one of those people, I hear you, I see you. If this resonates, reach out. And for all of you subscribers, thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for continuing to subscribe month after month. Sometimes there aren't many bonuses, and sometimes there are many. And for those of you that continue to subscribe, it means a lot. And for all of you that share this podcast, that means a lot. For all of you who listen and are here, that I'm so grateful. So together we rise. There are some resources in your show notes. Go check them out. I love you and expect abundance.